Welcome to On the Beat, everyone. I'm Troy Thompson. Joining me today is the man himself, Mr. Jeff Farnham, of course, from JTS Co Mortgage Professionals. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am fantastic. Now, of course, we're talking all about the housing market today, and especially within this COVID-19 situation that we have here in America. What do you see with supply and demand out there in the marketplace right now?
It's really been interesting to watch coming through this COVID-19 issue because the demand for homes was already very high and the inventory was very low, and we're continuing to see that trend. And the number of people buying homes has actually increased throughout this time period. Pipelines are double what they normally are, so that means the inventory's gone down. What's available out there is less, and when things hit the market, they're moving very quickly.
Well, what does this mean for people who want to pull the trigger?
Well, really they need to be prepared. They need to be ready as they get ready to start looking. What we've seen and heard stories of is people go out there, start looking, look at a house, they like it, and before they can get an offer in, somebody else has already made an offer on that home. So, we know of one home that sold 2 days on the market the other day. So things are moving very, very quickly.
That's amazing. Okay, well, all the important question, is it important to be pre-qualified before you start looking?
Absolutely. You need to know what you can afford. You need to know what loan type you're going into. You need to know how much money you're going to need to close. You need to make sure that the payment is in the range of what you can budget and afford. There's lots of things that need to be done before you ever go out there and start looking. Because what we see is people go out there, they start looking, they fall in love with a house just to find out they didn't qualify for that home for whatever reason might be.
How do we know what we need to have to be pre-qualified, and how do we go about that?
Well, that's the easiest part. All that is a phone call. Call us. We'll walk you through every step. We're going to ask you a series of questions about your income, where you work, your credit, your assets, those kind of things, what your goals are, what you hope to achieve with this home. We're going to walk through all of that. And it's a very low stress process. It's very easy to do. It gets a lot of the questions out of the way. And then when you go out there and you start looking for a home, you can look with confidence, not worried and fretting over, am I going to be able to do this?
Do you really feel it's wise to be pre-qualified and when I say if, in the back of your mind, you would like to start looking, but maybe not ready for maybe 6 months or so, should you still get pre-qualified?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that's probably even better, right? Because a lot of times we see people that they get pre-qualified and they jump out there right quick and sometimes make an emotional decision rather than a good business decision. So planning and tracking things out, 6 months gives you a lot of time to prepare yourself and makes your process a lot easier. It's not to say that somebody can't do it, that's get pre-qualified today and write a contract tomorrow. That happens all the time, and that's not bad either. But if you're thinking, hey, I'm 6 months out, 9 months out, or even next year, we have those conversations all the time. And that's somebody that's very wise. They're planning things out and they're just looking at their situation. Yeah.
I went to a development and a developer, and they insisted that I had to do my pre-qualification through their lending team. And I didn't particularly want to do that. I wanted to go through my banking institution. Why is that? Why would they be implying that I needed to do that?
Well, and you need to be very wary of those kind of things. And that's an issue across the country that we're seeing, and there's been some legislation things written that's trying to take effect in that regard. But sometimes there's incentives for going through their lender, and it could be some developers own their own financing companies or mortgage companies. There's lots of different scenarios of why that could be and why. So if that's the case, it's not to say that that's a bad thing, but you need to ask a lot of questions and make sure you're comfortable, but they cannot force you to go through their lending institution.
Your advice is basically ask all the right questions to begin with.
Absolutely. Make sure you're very, very comfortable. It's not that it's necessarily bad. Every company's doing it wrong, but it's just, you want to be very cautious.
Well, Jeff, as always, you give us great information. We appreciate you.
Yeah, glad to do it.
If you want to find out more information, there it all is up on the screen for you. JTS Co Mortgage Professionals, take care of all your future housing needs. Back after this short break.